Welcome to CV Studios. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Helps to keep us motivated and make more of these videos for you guys. Let's start today's video.
It's late, and I'm sitting here in bed, David snoring softly beside me, my heart racing with guilt and excitement. I can't believe what I've done. I don't even know where to begin. It all started so innocently, or at least that's what I've been telling myself to make it seem less horrible. I should have known better. I should have realized that this thing I've been feeling for months now was slowly building up to something like this. It wasn't just a fantasy anymore, it became a reality, and now I'm left with the weight of my actions. I haven't been able to stop thinking about Jacob. It's insane how someone from my past could still have such a hold on me after all these years. I thought I had moved on from him. I thought marrying David meant I had left everything else behind, including those passionate, wild nights with Jacob. But I was wrong. So wrong. I don't even remember when it started, this obsession with him again. Maybe it was when I saw his face pop up on my social media feed a few months ago. Maybe it was when David and I stopped being intimate as much, our marriage becoming more of a routine. David is everything I could ask for in a husband. He loves me. He's stable, kind, dependable, but there's a spark that's missing, something Jacob always had. God, the way Jacob used to make me feel. The way he'd look at me like I was the only woman in the world, like he couldn't wait to get his hands on me. With Jacob, every moment was intense, alive, thrilling. He was the danger, the fire I couldn't get enough of. But there was always something toxic between us, too. That's why I had to leave him. He was too much, too wild, too reckless. Our passion had burned bright, but it had also burned me out. I needed stability, something real, which is why I chose David. At least, that's what I told myself. But when I saw that picture of Jacob again, shirtless and looking better than ever, something in me snapped. I started thinking about him every day, fantasizing about those wild nights we had, the way he knew exactly what to do to drive me crazy. I didn't want to admit it to myself at first, but the truth is that I was bored in my marriage, bored with my life. I kept fantasizing about Jacob when I was lying next to David, imagining what it would be like to feel his hands on me again, to relive all those wild, passionate nights we used to have. I don't know what possessed me to send Jacob a message. It was late one night, and I was scrolling through Instagram, staring at his pictures. My heart was racing. I told myself it would be harmless, just a friendly hello. But deep down, I think I knew what I was doing. I wanted more than just a conversation. I wanted to see if that old spark was still there. Long time no see. How have you been? I typed, my fingers trembling as I hit send. I should have closed the app right then. I should have gone to bed, curled up next to David, and forgotten about it. But no, I stayed up, staring at my phone, waiting for Jacob to respond. When his reply came, my heart skipped a beat. Samantha, wow, it's been forever. I've been good. How about you? We started talking after that, catching up on life, pretending it was all innocent. But it didn't stay innocent for long. He started flirting with me, reminding me of all the good times we had. And the worst part is, I flirted back. I couldn't help it. The rush of excitement, the butterflies in my stomach hit felt like I was alive again. You ever think about us? He asked one night. I hesitated before replying, my hand shaking as I typed. Sometimes, that was all it took. After that, our conversations got more explicit, more dangerous. He started reminding me of how good things were between us, how I used to beg him for more, how he knew exactly what I liked. And God, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop imagining what it would feel like to have him touch me again, to give in to all those desires I'd been suppressing for years. We both knew what we wanted. We started planning to meet up, just for coffee, we said. But we both knew it wouldn't stop there. The thought of seeing him again made my heart race with anticipation, but it also filled me with guilt. I love David. I do. But there's a part of me that craves something more, something raw and passionate, something Jacob always gave me. I thought about canceling the meet so many times. I told myself it was wrong, that I was playing with fire, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. The pull was too strong, and I wanted it too badly. When the day finally came, I told David I was going out with some friends. I kissed him goodbye, and he smiled at me, so trusting, so loving, and I felt like the worst person in the world. But that didn't stop me from getting into my car and driving to the hotel Jacob and I had agreed on. My heart was pounding in my chest as I parked the car and walked toward the entrance. I could feel my hands shaking, my stomach twisting in knots. What was I doing? I was about to destroy everything I had with David for a few hours of pleasure. But as soon as I saw Jacob standing there in the lobby, all my doubts disappeared. He looked even better in person than he did in his pictures. He smiled at me, that same cocky grin I remembered so well, and suddenly I was 22 again, reckless and wild, ready to throw caution to the wind for the thrill of it all. Without a word, he led me to the room, and the second the door closed behind us, he pulled me into his arms, kissing me like he'd been waiting for this moment for years. I melted into him. I couldn't help it. The feel of his hands on my body, the way he touched me like he owned me, it was like nothing had changed between us. We tore each other's clothes off, desperate, hungry, like we couldn't get enough. And when he finally took me to bed, it was everything I remembered and more. Every touch, every kiss, every thrust, it was like he knew exactly what I needed, like he'd never forgotten how to make me lose control. I've never felt anything like it. I was on fire, every nerve in my body alive with sensation. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but feel. Jacob took me in ways David never had, ways I'd only dreamed about since we'd parted. He knew how to push me to the edge and then pull me back, over and over, until I was begging for release. And when he finally gave it to me, I thought I'd explode from the pleasure. Afterward, we lay in bed, our bodies tangled in the sheets, the room filled with the sound of our ragged breathing. Jacob looked over at me, his fingers tracing lazy circles on my skin. "You miss me, didn't you?" he said, his voice smug. I didn't even try to deny it. How could I? I just cheated on my husband with the one man I swore I'd never see again, and I didn't feel an ounce of regret in that moment. All I could think about was how good it had felt, how alive I had felt in Jacob's arms. But now, lying here in bed next to David, the guilt is starting to creep in. What have I done? How could I betray him like that? David loves me, he trusts me, and I just threw all of that away for a few hours of passion. What if he finds out? What if I've ruined everything? It didn't take long for the cracks to show. David noticed something was off almost immediately. I tried to act normal, to pretend like nothing had changed, but I couldn't hide it. The guilt was eating me alive. I started pulling away from him, avoiding his touch, making excuses to stay out late. I felt like I was living a double life. By day, I was the loving wife, but by night, I was fantasizing about Jacob, replaying every moment of that forbidden encounter in my mind. One night, David confronted me. He sat me down and asked me if there was something going on. I tried to deny it at first, but he saw right through me. "Samantha, I know you're hiding something. Is there someone else?" The words hung in the air, heavy and damning. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, my palms sweaty. I opened my mouth to deny it again, but the guilt was too much. I broke down. "Yes," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "There's someone else." David's face went pale. For a moment, he just stared at me, disbelief written all over his features. Then, something inside him snapped. "I knew it," he said, his voice cold, his eyes filled with hurt. "You're addicted. Samantha, you're addicted to him." I didn't know what to say. Addicted? Was that what this was? An addiction to the thrill, to the passion Jacob gave me that David never could? Maybe he was right. Maybe I was addicted to Jacob, to the danger, to the forbiddance. David stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. I sat there, numb, the weight of my betrayal crashing down on me. I had destroyed everything: the trust, the love, the life we had built together. And for what? For a few hours of pleasure. Now, as I lie here in bed, alone, I can't help but wonder, was it worth it? Moral of the story: do not risk what you have and need for something you don't have and don't need.